true sense, the quota system was not brought about to make university entry possible for ethnic Sinhalese, but as an alternative at providing Muslim students who were at that time a mere fraction, and so providing them with the possibility of university entrance. The National Science Council subcommittee report submitted to the sectoral committee of the National Planning Council on social overheads, mass media, housing and transportation on 26 February 1975 clearly states, and I quote, "From the only statistics relating to the 1972 A-level exam made available to the subcommittee from the Department of Examinations, there is no evidence to support the case for medium-wise standardization. We have already commented on the fact that the statistics of the marks at the examination of 1973 and 1974 were not made available to us. If these statistics had been made available to us, it is conceivable that different aspects of this problem may have come to light." I end quote. Hence, the district quota system was implemented, and invariably ethnic Sinhalese students, who were the majority population-wise, had a greater probability than their counterparts at accessing the university system, which was later misinterpreted by the separatist political factions as discrimination towards ethnic Dravidians. And certainly in the eyes of a normal Dravidian youth, this was sheer domination by ethnic Sinhalese. And Chellanayagam was proactive to seize the opportunity in the growing resentment among Tamil youth in the north, or the Dravidian youth in the north. The possibility of any debate on the university quota system was blown out of proportion as successive governments had crossed the fault lines brought about by the one language policy. The Sri issue was the climax on the debate of perceived linguistic-based discrimination by the Dravidian youth in the north. In my view, the one language policy produced by Mr. late Bandanayaka was a political gimmick as stirring popular nationalistic sentiments for vote gains. There was no sincere sense of commitment, as any student of contemporary Sri Lankan political history could see on the part of Mr. Bandanayaka, and same as his counterpart, Mr. Chellanayagam. These policies adversely affected both the normal Dravidian youth and Sinhalese youth, who were distanced from learning English as an international language. This, as per my understanding, not only gave way for accumulation of resent, and also perception of deliberate discrimination. Interestingly, it was the Sinhalese youth who provided numbers for the first youth uprising in 1971, setting a perfect example for their Dravidian counterparts to follow later in the mid-70s. So in my final account, I would like to shed a light on the Black July riots or the 1983 mob violence, while providing an understanding into the timing and patterns of propaganda events by extremist Dravidian political factions. I do not want to exhaust the gathering here with a repetition of the flashpoints of the 1983 ethnic, in quotes, ethnic issue or the July mob spree, but intended highlighting the crucial denominators that represented the crux of the entire event. The violence erupted in the greater Colombo area and spread into the suburbs, and later an island-wide calamity. Though the event was interpreted as a violent reaction by Sinhalese avenging the death of 13 ethnic Sinhalese soldiers, the blueprints into the flash mob was prepared months ahead. This was not the local production. But my study has provided me with substantial evidences on the play on two external intelligence parties associating with Colombo-based Malay thugs as Slave Island and the rudimentary armed Dravidian youth factions in the north. The law enforcement agencies Colombo civilly failed to smother the spread of the violence, and interestingly, some high-ranking officers were ethnic Tamils at that time. Though the J.R. Jayawardena regime was to be blamed later for shying away from responsibilities, we Sri Lankans experienced a similar exertion of external pressure towards the local government in 1987. This entire event in years to come was propagated as the limelight of an anti-Dravidian violence by ethnic Sinhalese, and a classic example of ethnic discrimination to date, a label which we are still struggling to get rid of. Ironically, this was the only incident that the terror proxies could clamor upon, despite many efforts at stirring mob violence in the south in the 90s and into the latter part of the campaign. With this, I have come to my conclusion, in which I would like to share my understanding of the discrimination issue. According to my perspective, the whole ethnic discrimination factor has been totally blown out of proportions. And this is due to the timing of propaganda events by LTT proxies and by the sheer negligence by our earlier governments at provoking debate and clear investigations into the bogus allegations. With this, ladies and gentlemen, I conclude my presentation, and thank you all for your time.